Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona. The big one is out. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series. We've got something going wrong in the background. We can hear Antonio, the race control. Let's just listen to what he says here.
10-lap sprint race. Other than the usual, you know, your good old 18X drive-through, every 7X afterwards, fuel's 50%. Other than that, it's nothing special. It's just another race day.
All right, we're back. Race Control finishing up his notes with our drivers. Let's go ahead and run it through the grid here today at Road America. Josh Green starts on pole. Raymond Aguilar starting second. Connor Scribner starting third. Brad Tritton starting fourth. Kevin Burrows fifth in the grid. Flo Dom starting sixth. Nick Peterson starts seventh. John Kasai starts eighth. Ryan Tebow starting ninth. Peter Rettinger starting 10th. Danilo Sparapani starts 11th. Felipe Garcia 12th on the grid. Cycling it back to Xavier Zanave starting 13th. Hunter Graves starts 14th. Mari Fernandez starting 15th. Jake Pott starting 16th. Jay Small starting 17th. Gareth Mcallister, the world-famous Australian, starts 18th here today. Norman King starts 19th. Matt Foster 20th on the grid. Then we've got Jeff Murphy starting 21st. Michael Roslin starting 22nd. Kenneth Huddock starting 23rd. Felipe Ramos starting 24th. Then we've got Gustavo Gravina starts 25th. And Antonio Bianchi 26th on the grid. Let's get ready to go racing here at Road America for the League Zero Formula 3 Series. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on, as we get ready for the lights to come on in the world-famous Wisconsin Raceway. And they're off for the 45-minute feature event, 20 laps, whatever comes first, as we watch Green get ready to launch things here today. But Raymond Aguilar going to have something to say, diving into turn one. Aguilar, the 72 machine, on the outside line, not able to tuck in like he wants. So Josh Green will hold on to the race lead, as here comes Connor Scribner, the number 18 machine as well. He's side by side with Brad Tritton. Oh, who's it going to be? It's going to be Scribner holding on to it, as we tuck down mostly single file drivers trying to pick up the draft from their comrades in arms. As, man, the draft is absolutely potent here. Aguilar staying right on the gearbox of Green, but ooh, what's going to happen here? Green goes wide. Aguilar takes over the lead, as behind them I think we've got carnage. Oh, yes, we do. Going down the hill, it's turned into a parking lot rather quickly. Fernandez, Small, King, Ramos, all involved in that. Let's take a look and see where things went wrong. Heavy on the brakes, a little bit of contact sends them careening around. And we're going to shorten the field by at least 3 or 4 drivers. Now, if these drivers take a tow back to pit road, they are done. They are out, and they will not be rejoining the raceway in the feature event. Jay Small, unfortunately, will be the first driver to take a tow back to pit road, the number 5 machine. Aguilar holds on to the race lead from Josh Green, about a quarter of a second ahead here. Looks like Sparapani finds himself off track and impaled on the outside wall. He takes a tow. He'll be done for the evening, despite all the fans here cheering him on. But not all is lost here for the Brazilian driver, We have another race here tonight, so we'll run our opening feature events and then go into the Mad Dash Sprint race. Tonight in the feature event, we will have one scheduled stop for our drivers. Everybody will come down pit road at least once, box, take fuel, and go back out there as Aguilar sets the fastest lap of the race, a 2:08.94, just about 3/10 faster than Green that last time by. But it's going to be interesting to see how strategy develops here tonight at Road America. Let's go a little bit further back. We got a 3-car battle for 9th. It's Ryan Tebow, Peter Rettinger, Felipe Garcia in the mix in the number 19 machine. Now, a lot of these drivers have ran multiple seasons, if not multiple races so far this season together, so you get an idea of what you can get away with, who you can push hard with, and maybe who you can trust to go too wide beside around the relatively narrow raceway here at Road America. We've got a lot of drivers limping it down pit road. Norman King, Matt Foster, Felipe Ramos, Danilo Sparapani, all in pit road very early on their first lap of the night. Those are drivers that we saw involved in that downhill carnage. And we'll try and get the repairs done to get back out there and maybe try and salvage some points. As we go back up front, Josh Green has regained the race lead from Raymond Aguilar. Let's see where he does, just like that, using the draft to slide next to Aguilar, heavy on the brakes, and makes it nice and clean coming up the hill. So Green regains the race lead. Now the question is, will we see Aguilar in that 72 machine stay with Green? Because Green, when he gets that clean track ahead of him, absolutely lethal. Able to put down some record-breaking times. And he does so, a 2-minute flat. Low Dom's close behind though. He clicked off a 2.72 compared to Green's 2-minute .68. So the gents absolutely flying at the land of cheese here tonight. And as always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on, as these drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate screen. If not, they usually go back and watch it later on. As Scribner and Dom's having a battle of wills and who can be on the brakes hardest, as it looks like that's going to be Dom's. A little bit of a bobble, allowing Scribner to regain the third place spot. Dom's a man on a mission here tonight, up 2 positions early on. As just behind them, that's Brad Tritt and Kevin Burrows battling for position. We have 22 drivers still on track. Looks like Felipe Ramos is going to leave pit road after 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go back out, maybe salvage some points, and if not, just get some experience surrounded by some very talented drivers. The League Zero Formula 3 Series, sponsored by Nemesis. One of the most aggressive and talented fields you can find on a Thursday night. Faster and faster out front. A 2-minute .4, but Raymond Aguilar using that draft clicked off a 2-minute .34. Just goes to show how important the draft is here tonight. Still more side-by-side action out of our competitors. Now, the more they battle back and forth, the more likely it is more drivers can be able to get up here, interject themselves in the party. It gets a little bit riskier for all parties involved. As we cycle back up front, Josh Green being chased by Raymond Aguilar. Everybody doing a fantastic job here so far, at least up front, keeping it nice and clean, not having too many issues out here today. Aguilar able to keep that draft of Green. That's going to be very important in the long run, as he may be able to save a little bit of fuel here, as we got Laura Kasai, surely related to John Kasai, in the number 3 machine, cheering on John out here tonight. The Texas natives coming out in force. Always great to see our friends. As let's see Green, now he securely clicks off the fastest lap, a 2-minute .16. So getting faster and faster as the run progresses here. Now keep an eye out on Green, the Indy Pro 2000 driver, in real life I may add, will just get more and more comfortable here as the run goes on. And as the fuel load starts to drop, he'll get a little bit quicker as things go on. and have less and less problems and able to put down faster and faster lap times. So it'll be interesting to see if we can have one of these drivers maybe break that 2-minute mark here tonight and pick up that top spot. We'll keep an eye on as Aguilar hangs out just about a half-second back from your race leader. Going a little bit further back to the battle for fourth is Connor Scribner with the number 18 machine. He's being chased by Kevin Burrows, Nick Peterson, Brad Trenton, Ryan Tebow, all in the mix here. As let's see, Kevin Burrows all on the back of Connor Scribner. You've got Nicky Yett cheering on Ryan Tebow. Paula Stramble also cheering on Nick Peterson, number 24 machine. Great to see so many fans coming out tonight. Are we going to see Burrows make a move here? Burrows started off 5th, currently running 5th out on track. As he's looking alongside Scribner, Peterson's going to watch to see what this battle unfolds. Here comes Burrows up the inside line. Looks like he's going to get the pass and do so cleanly. Oh, now it's going to be a 3-car battle for 4th. Burrows, Scribner, Peterson, all in the mix. Brad Trenton, Ryan Tebow also watching with interest. Just takes one mistake up here to collect several drivers as we're still side by side to see what's going to happen. I still don't know what's going to happen. It's, oh, we're 2 wide, 2 rows deep. Not something we normally see here in the open wheel cars. But just great racing amongst our friends out on track. Everybody pushing hard, trying to make something happen. So Burrows has moved up to 4th ahead of Scribner and Peterson. As your race leader, Josh Green's pulled about a 1-second gap over 2nd place Aguilar. Peterson's going to try and answer on Burrows. Brad Trenton lagging back behind by about 0.6 of a second. Burrows able to put the pedal down, the number 80 machine, and keep moving forward. Because we've got something going on with Antonio Bianchi. He finds himself acquainted with a wall here at Road America. Felipe Garcia was also off track, takes a tow back to pit road, so looks like Antonio will do the same. So 2 fast drivers out for the evening, as that may allow several drivers to work their way back up towards the front. Now I want to say Felipe was involved in an earlier incident, as now Hunter Graves also takes a tow back to pit road. So they're dropping like flies only 13 minutes in. Oh, look at this, the battle for 6th. Nick Peterson, Brad Trenton side by side. Peterson, the number 24 machine. Trenton in the 26. Ooh, heavy on the brakes is right behind them. That was Ryan Tebow and John Kasai going wheel to wheel in the battle for 8th. Tebow will come out the victor here, but Kasai looks to the inside line. Does he have the drive to hold it? Is they're side by side once more? Yes, Kasai, the Texas native and the number 3 machine, regains 8th place. And now Peter Rettinger, he says, you know what? I want a piece of this. He looks to the inside line, but falls back as he's battling with Jake Potts in the number 40. such a very prestigious raceway here in Wisconsin. Good to see the Formula 3 machines blitzing their way around, still looking for the elusive sub 2-minute lap time from some of these drivers. Green, Aguilar, and Doms have gotten close. They've all gotten down to the low 2-minute marks. As around goes Ryan Tebow. We'll have to wait safely for an opportunity to go around. John Kasai also off track and takes a tow. What's going on here? Let's check on Tebow to see what happened. And then Kasai, just caught a little bit of gravel, and away goes the wheels, being caught by the safety lanyard. So the Texas native will be out for the evening, now showing 20th in position. Hate to see it. Kasai, such a great guy. A lot of fun to watch him race. As Green, using the draft from traffic, he clicked off a 2-minute, 0.07-second lap time. So getting even closer and closer to that sub 2-minute mark. We're kind of expecting at this point. A little bit further back, looks like a 3-car battle for 5th developing. Peterson, Burrows, Trenton, all in the mix. And looking to gain some more ground here. We still have about 30 minutes left to go in this feature event before we get ready for our sprint race of the evening. As we're starting to have drivers facing attrition. Mcallister goes off track, the world famous Australian. He's running 11th. But gonna keep his head down as this little pack here starting to tighten up. With Peters running 5th, Burrows 6th, Trenton running 7th. As it looks like Trenton gonna be one of the first drivers down pit road on lap 9. I wonder if he has some sort of problem here, as Green continuously makes his way around traffic. Nice and easy, the number 22 machine proudly out front. I believe that may have been Matt Foster going to lap down the 32 machine. Ooh, what's going on here? Roslin has a moment in the number 11. I almost wonder if he cooked in a little bit too deep, caught a draft from the 81 of Gravina, and maybe found his brake marker, his usual brake marker, not quite sufficient. Yeah, he locks up the brakes. Around he goes, but very well done. Oh, as we pan back to Roslin. All right, so right now the newcomer, the number 11 machine, just needs to take it easy, get his mind back with him, get those tires cleaned off and put his head down. Mistakes can often breed more mistakes from these drivers. They get a little bit frustrated, start to compound the issue with the old red mist behind the helmet. Oh, look at that. Peter Renger with a wild off track as he was chasing Jake Potts. What I think we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, drivers picking up the draft from their opponents in front of them, and it just takes about 5 miles an hour difference for your normal brake marker, the spot where you think that's the absolute latest I can brake. But when you tuck in behind a friend who's pushing all the air away from you, able to increase your top speed, very easy to go in just a little bit deeper into the corners here, Road America, than you're expecting. And that can very quickly spell tragedy for these drivers. Kevin Burrows, number 80 machine, comes down pit road for his one scheduled stop of the evening. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Brad Tritton does. Number 26 machine, he was the absolute first driver with a planned pit stop. At least I think it was planned. In and out from his stall in 5 seconds, just taking fuel. and getting back out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the undercut works out for him. As here comes Ryan Tebow working on Jeff Murphy's number 45 machine. And one also has to ask, where is Terry Crouch here tonight? A very frequent front runner, unable to make his way out to Roto America. So hate to see that for Crouch, who normally sports the 56 machine. As Tebow really putting a gap on Murphy. Now Tebow running 10th, so he'll be well in the points. And most importantly, as we get ready for the sprint race to follow, it's going to be a top 12 inverted grid. So whoever finishes 12th, which right now is Mari Fernandez, the Brazilian driver of the 94 machine, if he finishes 12th in this feature event, that'll put him at the very tippy top of the field going into the sprint race. And right now it'd be Green running out front in the 22 machine. He would be starting in 12th, which can be a bit of a meat grinder as the faster drivers try and make their way forward. And speaking of fast drivers, look at that, Green. A 1 minute 59.86, breaking that 2 minute mark with no draft to speak of. The fuel level starting to drop in that 22 machine, and Green getting even faster as the run progresses. Norman King comes down pit road for his scheduled stop of the evening. Mari Fernandez comes down pit road while King leaves his stall to get back out on track. Oh no, Antonio Bianchi, even though he was in pit road for repairs early on, takes a disconnect here, unable to maintain that connection. So hopefully Bianchi can get back into the server and get ready for the sprint race. Ooh, Jeff Murphy, we talked about him earlier. Trying to get the angle here. Looks like he had a problem. Loving the Canadian livery, though, out of the 45 machine. Looking nice and sharp but easy on the rejoin. As here comes Kevin Burrows and Brad Tritton. Well done to Burrows going wide to avoid traffic. Now Murphy's going to want to try and get back on the throttle here, as if he can pass Brad Tritton, that'll put him up into 12th for that inverted grid, as Scribner and Peterson still having quite the battle for 4th. Scribner in the 18, Peterson in the 24. Jake Potts in pit road as now Scribner comes diving in as well for his green flag stop. The Scribner and Potts leave pit road as Green keeps charging forward. Now, just about everybody outside the top 8 has come down pit road so far tonight, as it's Green, Aguilar, Doms, Peterson, and Rettinger, your top 5. They've all opted to stay out as long as they possibly can, letting those gas tanks get a little bit empty and keep putting down hot laps. Right now, your top 3 drivers all at the 2-minute mark. As look at this, Josh Green's going to come down pit road for his scheduled stop. Are we going to see Aguilar follow suit, or is he going to try and get ahead of the number 22 machine? Maybe slow down the pace. No, Aguilar and Doms come down pit road. Now watch this. Green is going to be in and out like a flash. A very long pit road here, as Peterson, running 4th, also comes down pit road. But Green will hit that pit stall, hopefully perfectly. Take Justin a few and look at all the race cars still on or already back on pit road. Green, let's keep track here. 5.13 seconds. In and out, just long enough to throw fuel in the car. Xavier Zanave opts to stay out. He'll get a lap lead here at Road America. But he will still have to come down pit road at least once. Well, one scheduled stop, I should say. Now, last week, Zanave picked up a podium. One of his first podiums, I believe, here at League Zero at Long Beach. He finished 3rd behind Connor Scribner and Brad Trenton in an absolute wild sprint race that actually even saw the pace car roll out, something we don't normally see here at League Zero, at least not this season. So Zanave holding a 1.6 second gap over Green, but Green's going to be really patient here, knowing that the French driver will have to come down pit road. And then after that, Green will have wide open track ahead of him. Let's go a little bit further back to yet again, it's Peterson, Burrows, Scribner. The 3 drivers just can't get away from each other. And then Brad Tritt, number 26 machine, watching what happens as well. He's going to try and pick up the draft from his opponents and maybe pull himself just slightly forward. Burrows with a very slight bobble as here comes Scribner. Your race leader Zanave comes down pit road, the number 12 machine, as well as Gareth Mcallister, the world famous Australian, the number 25. As we are watching an absolute fierce battle for what I believe will be the 4th place spot, as drivers make their way around Zanave and Mcallister, who's on pit road. So Peterson, Burrows, Scribner, Trenton move up now 4th or 6th. Zanave and Mcallister fall back to around that 10th or 11th place spot. As look at this, here comes Peterson making a move on Burrows. Scribner frantically looking for a way through as well, as Brad Trenton, who's nice and tight here, catching the draft. Looks like it's the 80 of Burrows without the draft support on the right side of the raceway. Your left, now right. Say that 5 times fast. And what's going to happen going down the hill as we're 2 wide, 2 deep in a 4-car battle for 4th. Easy, boys. Looks like everybody gets through nice and clean. A little bit of rear end shimmy as drivers trying to put the power down without catching the gravel trap. As Scribner tries to check out the number 18 machine, Peterson will still have his hands full with Burrows and Trenton. Man, oh man, these guys putting on an absolute show for us this evening. Looks like Peterson lost a little bit of drive there. Scribner able to pull a 7/10 advantage. Burrows and Trenton hanging out about 6/10 behind your 5th place driver. As up front, Green just keeps getting faster and faster with a 1 minute 59.84 his last time by. What's this? Sparapani leaves pit road. Has problems. I thought Sparapani took a tow earlier, so not quite sure what he's doing out on track. Cutting through the grass. Very perplexing here. Getting back up to speed, so not sure what Sparapani's game plan is. As we saw the crash report trigger on pit road, I think it was just him coming to a stop. Oh, look at this battle. Potts and Rettinger going at it. Potts moving up to 8th. Rettinger falls back down to 9th. Now, Potts was very fast earlier this season, but didn't have the start he was looking for. But let's see if he can fend off the Austrian driver. Is the field getting a little bit more spread out at this point? Allowing drivers to focus on their marks. Now, you know who's not getting spread out is once again Scribner and Peterson linking up, wing the gearbox here. While just behind them, Burrows and Trenton will try and pull back up. Your race leader Green just keeps getting faster as the tires get into his optimal liking, a 159.73. Just pouring down the speed here. As let's see if Scribner's going to answer the battle for 4th. He knows if he waits too long, that's going to allow Burrows and Trenton to take a shot at both Peterson and Scribner battling hard here. Scribner pulling about 4/10 over Peterson. Peterson with about 5/10 over Burrows. I'm amazed. We are 16 laps in, just about a little bit shy of 33 minutes. And these drivers still remaining less than a second to each other for the duration of the event. This goes to show you how deep the talent is stacked here at the League Zero Formula Series, sponsored by Nemesis. And here comes Peterson using the draft once more. Also impressed with Burrows and Trenton. They came in on lap 8-9 for their fuel stop, so very, very early tonight. Wondering what the strategy may be there. If they were looking for clean track, they are not going to find it with Scribner and Peterson still putting on this battle. As it is now Green, Aguilar, Doms, your top three. Scribner and Peterson battling fiercely for fourth, but can't count out Burrows and Trenton here, as they are just waiting for a mistake, as it looks like Trenton falling off the pace ever so slightly from Burrows. But Trenton came in a lap 8, so he could be doing a little bit of fuel saving to make sure he can make it till the end. And it back up front. Green still clicking off sub 2-minute lap times. He knows as he crosses the line, just 2 laps left to go for that number 22 machine. Starting on pole, fastest lap of the race. And I believe as well he'll be leading the most amount of laps. So going for the hat trick here at Road America. Well, we got something going on. Michael Roslin had a bit of a moment again in the number 11 machine. Let's see what happened to him. We've seen a few self-spins here tonight, or what I think is about to see is hard on the brakes, over-rotating the machine, and around it goes. That is exactly, but well done. A good save from Roslin. And the most important thing he's learning here is how to keep that car control underneath him to avoid those mistakes in the future. Speaking of mistakes, Scribner made a slight one to allow Peterson back by into fourth, but we're going to go side by side, a little wheel-to-wheel action. Scribner giving Peterson a hearty bump there. And great racing for fourth, so now it's Scribner leading this 4-pack of cars. Peterson right behind with Burrows and Trenton going about 3 or 4 tenths away as well. Now I'm fairly certain Burrows and Trenton are going to have to be still a little bit careful here on fuel management if they want to make it till the end without having to come in for a second stop, which is a surefire way to throw away a perfectly good race here at League Zero. If you find these machines on pit road more than once in a feature event, something has gone terribly, horribly wrong. Scribner pulling about a 4/10 gap over Peterson. Burrows and Trenton still linked up, with Trenton starting to fall off still ever so slightly. Now he's about 6 tenths behind Burrows. He's got get a little bit closer to that number 80 machine if he wants to get the maximum fuel saving he can, at least on the start-finish line. Look at this, Scribner and Peterson trying to play the draft game with 1 lap left to go next time by. Scribner, Peterson, Burrows all linked up, heading downhill. Let's see if Peterson will once again be able to answer Scribner. Now, these two competitors went back and forth several times in a heated battle for fourth, but I'm wondering if Peterson's going to be able to close that 3/10 gap. Maybe he will at the long sections of raceway here in Wisconsin. Gaining about a tenth in the back stretch. Getting right on the gearbox of Scribner. May be able to try and just maybe bide his time as the white flag is out for Josh Green, your race leader. He's running a full solid 13 seconds ahead of Aguilar. But I think what you may see here is Peterson trying to measure up Scribner to see what type of drive he can get up the line to know how close he has to be to that number 18's back wing to make a last-ditch pass, as Scribner will hold the line going into turn one, side-by-side action. Burrows with a front row seat to the show here. Peterson working the outside line. Where is Burrows going to go to give the draft support as Scribner tucks neatly back in behind Peterson? So this is going to put Peterson on the inside line, diving down the hill. Now we saw a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact here earlier, but still side by side, getting ready to head up the bridge up the hill under the bridge. Peterson on the inside line. Scribner now will be on the inside line. More wheel-to-wheel contact between the two. Scribner takes back over fourth place, but man, these guys are being really risky in the final lap. Ooh, a little bit of contact there between Tritton and Burrows. That'll slow down their pace and make this a two-car rodeo in the final lap, the battle for fourth. Checkered flag flies for Josh Green, your race leader. He will soon be accompanied by Raymond Aguilar, Flo Dobbs crossing the line. But we're watching to see here if Scribner and Peterson, who have been very aggressive on the final lap, will be able to A, make it to the finish line, and B, hold their current positions. And Josh Green actually put down the fastest lap of the race that last time by, a 1:59.54. As it looks like Scribner is going to hold on to it here. Peterson won't quite be within striking distance. But a great battle for fourth between those guys, where it'll once again be Josh Green picking up the top spot here tonight. We're going to wait for our top three drivers to make their way up into victory lane after quite an exciting race. Now, don't go anywhere. We're going to have these driver interviews, a very brief intermission, followed by the action-packed sprint race of the evening. Half the laps, twice the action. As we are still waiting on Doms, Aguilar, Green to make their way up into the interview room. As we get our drivers up here into victory lane. Up first, we've got Flo Doms, number 13 machine, putting it in third after a lot of drivers had an exciting evening, but seemed like you're able to sit there, click off some fast laps, and just focus on hitting your marks here tonight.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't have a lot of practice. I think I did like 13 laps, so I overtook a couple of guys at the beginning, and from then on, I was just in cruise mode. I think Raymond and Josh were just too quick for me tonight.
Now, Flo, we don't necessarily think about Road America being a hyper-technical track, but saw a lot of little bobbles and little mistakes. I mean, what do you think causes that here in Wisconsin? Is it the long track? Is it drivers without the seat time, or some other factor?
I think part of it is the setup that was provided was a little bit understeery in my eyes. I've tested earlier this week at Silverstone, and the car was just way more pointy, and that threw me off personally a little bit. My teammates were complaining about a little bit of an understeer as well, so might be that.
Well, awesome. Glad to see you back up here in victory lane, keeping that number 13 machine underneath you without any big incidents. Now, Flo, who do you want to give a quick shout out to before I let you go get ready for the sprint race tonight?
Just to you, man. You're doing a great job.
Oh, you Canadians are all right with me.
Hey.
All right, Flo, always a great time talking to my friend. I hope to see you back up here following the sprint race.
Cheers, man.
You as well, buddy. That was Flo Doms finishing third here tonight. Up next, we got Raymond Aguilar, the number 72 machine. Raymond, we saw a lot of good slicing and dicing early on, and then like after the halfway mark and everybody came down to box, a lot of just smooth sailing and focusing on lap times.
Yeah, pretty much. We had a problem mid-race. I think we gave up control a little too quickly, but all in all, pretty good race for a privateer team.
Yeah, not a bad effort. Able to put things together. Able to secure a lot of points here tonight. Now, what's the points situation looking like for you and the team heading late into the season? I mean, do you guys have a strategy, or what are we expecting out of the group?
Yeah, I think we have a shot. There's some strategy going into this. Part of that is not going to plan tonight. We've got we had some weird missiles coming at us in the form of Chase getting taken out early on. So that's going to be the hardest part, is battling just the mishaps that happen from some of the other incidents that take place.
Well, speaking of incidents, what are you expecting in this action-packed sprint race about to come up?
Oh, I'll win it.
All right.
Yeah, that one's already set in stone. When you and I were talking about that yesterday at the press junket, I've already had that one set in stone. We're going to win this thing.
Awesome. We look forward to seeing you back it up, Raymond. Always a great time talking to you. Who do you want to give a shout-out to that's cheering you on before I let you get ready for the sprint race?
Taco Bell, they came in last minute, helped us out, got us onto the grid and fed all in a matter of like 3 hours. So got to help them out tonight.
Can't beat it. With a budget of $6. They made it cover the whole team. So Raymond, a great time talking to you, buddy. Hope to see you back up here after the sprint.
Yep. Thanks so much, James.
That was Raymond Aguilar finishing second. Then up next, but certainly not least, Josh Green in the final spot, getting below that 2-minute lap time very consistently lap after lap late in the run.
Yeah, no, it was good. I found a lot of pace at the end of the run there. Not really sure. The tire just kind of came alive and that understeer disappeared, so it's good.
Now, Josh, with the new tire model that iRacing's released for these machines, is it a bit of a learning curve week in and week out to kind of get tied into the adjustment of a car and kind of not knowing what you're going to get every week?
I think so. I mean, the way the tire comes in is a lot different than it did before, and especially on a fixed setup where the only thing you can change is the brake bias, you do end up modulating it a lot just to get the car to do what you want. But with Road America specifically, I just have a ton of laps around here in real life and in the sim, so it's a big advantage.
Now, talking about real life, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, you were testing at Barber fairly recently, right?
Yep, Monday, Tuesday.
Now, I mean, going from a relatively tight technical track, a lot of off-camber, and a lot of blind uphill sections of that raceway, what's it like going from the real-life Barber to back-to-back to the virtual Road America?
It's interesting. It's harder to adjust going from the real car to the sim than it is from the sim to the real car, funnily enough. Just because you come back and you're used to having a lot more feedback from everything, and then when you get in the sim, suddenly, all you have is your eyes and the feel through the wheel. So it is an interesting trade-off.
Well, always a good time talking to my friend. I believe coming into tonight, you're third or fourth in points. Now, Terry Crouch still out front, Raymond Aguilar second. I know you're running a limited season with your real-life racing efforts. Do you think a League Zero championship still possibly in the cards for you and the team?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'll just keep pushing and do as many races as I can.
Awesome, Josh. Always a great time talking to you, buddy. Congratulations again. Put on the top spot. And who do I give a quick shout to before you get ready for the sprint race here tonight?
I'm in Session Guardian again. Thank you.
Awesome, Josh. Thank you, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you back up here after the sprint race.
Thank you.
That was Josh Green in the top spot. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a special guest here tonight. We're accompanied by Xavier Zanave. Xavier, you got a copy? Oh, no, Xavier. We're going to wait a second until Xavier can get his audio fixed out. as he hops back into a different room. See if we can get him corrected here. So we'll hang out for a little bit. We'll run a very quick commercial break while we try and get Xavier up in. But don't go anywhere. We're going to try and get the flying Frenchman in the booth after a very quick break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the flying Frenchman, Xavier Zinave, up in the booth, having microphone woes once more. But keep an eye out for the Frenchman. He'll be starting second in this race. Gareth Mcallister starts on pole. Ryan Tebow starts third. Peter Rettinger starting fourth. Jake Potts starting fifth. Brad Tritton starting sixth. Kevin Burrows starts seventh. Nick Peterson eighth on the grid. Connor Scribner starting ninth. Flo Dom starting 10th. Raymond Aguilar starts 11th. Josh Green rounding out the top 12. Again, an inverted top 12 here tonight for the sprint race. Half the laps, twice the action, and arguably 3 times the carnage here at Road America. Here we go, waiting for the lights to come on. who will be tied up in the inevitable first lap carnage. As Mcallister wicks it up, and away he goes. As we go on board, borrowing the Twitch stream from our current race leader, that's Gareth Mcallister, the number 25 machine, giving it all he's got here. You can see the hyper focus in that Aussie driver as he's being chased by Ryan Tebow and a lot of other fast guys, Jake Potts, Peter Rettinger, Brad Tritton in the mix. So far, we've avoided the usual first lap carnage, but Mcallister has a big blink there. The last thing he wants to see, and as I talked about first lap carnage, it looks like Ryan Tebow goes off track. He's going to be accompanied by several drivers. Gustavo Gravina involved in that one. Jake Potts, Ryan Tebow. So right now, Mcallister is going to have a 1 second lead over the rest of the field as he flat tracks it through the grass. Got to be careful not to let those pre-race jitters get to you. I guess mid-race jitters at this point. As behind him is Xavier Zanave going off track. The Frenchman having issues, the number 12 machine. Oh, and there goes Jake Potts, cooks it in deep. He was right behind Mcallister, but that's what you're talking about, the draft. So potent. As Mcallister may be driving slightly over his head as he is cooking the rear wheels, the number 25 machine. Like a frightened Aussie rabbit. Go, Mcallister, go. Holding about a 7/10 advantage over Ryan Tebow, Peter Rettinger, and Brad Tritton, Raymond Aguilar, your top five. Now Aguilar and Green have moved up to 5th and 6th early on. As now Rettinger and Tebow will go side by side in the battle for second. Rettinger makes the move and he makes it stick against Tebow, the Canadian 27. Ooh, still side by side. This is allowing Mcallister to stretch that gap to a 1.5 seconds. Mcallister, 21st in points. Still looking for his first podium of the season as, man, look at this, Aguilar throwing it in there in the 72 machine. Trying to pick up almost 2 or 3 spots. Josh Green a little bit more careful with those moves. Your race leader, Gareth Mcallister, his highest finish so far this season was a 6th at Barcelona. So he is absolutely loving it right now, but gotta keep that heart rate down. Focus on what's ahead of him and not what's behind, because I'll be honest, I wouldn't want to look back either. As Aguilar and Green slicing up through the field. As here comes Aguilar starting to put the work on Tritton. Oh, as you can see the mad dash behind Peter Rettinger right in the middle of that. As Doms and Scribner go side by side, ahead of him Josh Green's worked up to 4th, able to slice through the field again. Those very fast drivers you saw finishing on the podium in the opening feature event. Faced with the inverted top 12 here. Aguilar side by side with Tritton. I believe Aguilar will have the inside line going into turn 1. As it is John Kasai, I believe, the fastest lap of the race so far, a 2:01.15. So many drivers have been finding themselves battling intensely with traffic. Let's see if Aguilar will be able to whittle away the 1 second gap of Mcallister, the world famous Australian, running out front and doing quite a job of it. Mcallister driving the wheels off the 25. Trying to keep that momentum up for as long as he possibly can. As Aguilar still about 6/10 behind the number 25 machine. Mcallister doing a good job holding on to it despite the very stacked talent behind him. Looks like Josh Green trying to put some pressure on Brad Tritton's number 26 machine, looking at the inside line. Green works his way up to third as ahead of him. Aguilar getting closer and closer to Mcallister. Mcallister with the Jaws theme song playing in the background knows that Aguilar, not a patient driver when it comes to making moves. Expect to see some aggressiveness out of that 72 machine because Aguilar trying to put as many drivers between himself and Josh Green as he possibly can. You heard in the interview, this is Aguilar's race to win, at least so he said, as he looks to the inside line of Mcallister. And he's going to send it in deep into turn one. So Aguilar takes over the race lead. Josh Green running about a 9/10 back. But look at that, Mcallister answers. Not willing to give it up easy. The Australian here to fight tooth and nail. Let's see, there goes Aguilar stepping out from the draft, getting that inside line to get ready to make a move on the brakes. But we've seen Mcallister with a bit of aggressiveness, also going in quite deep, keeping the power down, and now Josh Green's going to join the fray. The inside line along the Australian. Man, oh man, did Green get through there quick. And we will have a battle for the lead. Raymond Aguilar, Josh Green. Now, not all is lost for Mcallister, as you can count on Aguilar and Green that will be battling quite fiercely here for the lead in this very short sprint race. Behind Mcallister is Trenton, Doms, Tebow, Scribner. A lot of fast guys up in the mix with the draft. Very potent here at Road America. Green just at 3/10 behind Aguilar. Mcallister 6/10 behind Green, so not quite sure if he's going to be able to keep the draft as your two front runners. But you got to remember, if Mcallister can finish better than 6th here tonight, that will be a career best for the Aussie. Aguilar trying to break the draft of Green right behind them, or at least 1.4 back. Mcallister and Tritton battling side by side. I believe Tritton's going to have the inside line going into turn one hard on the brakes. Look like Dom's trying to follow suit, but having to back out of it. Absolute great racing amongst the competitors. You see Doms dip the wheels off track, still keeping the power down, but if you go up front, things are about to get exciting between Aguilar and Green. Aguilar very defensive here on the inside line. Let's see how deep they go on the brakes. Side by side once more. Both competitors leaving each other as much room as they possibly can. Neither of these drivers wanting to get involved in an incident that will throw away both of their races. Aguilar holds on to it here at the halfway mark of the sprint. Green in hot pursuit. Behind them is Tritton and Mcallister linked up nose to tail, as well as Doms, Scribner, and I believe Tebow may also be in that mix, accompanied by Peter Rettinger. Aguilar holding on to a 3/10 advantage, but on this long winding back section, Green's going to be able to pull him back in to less than 2/10. Looks like Green maybe picking his marks here, not wanting to risk too much. knowing there's ample opportunities on this wide open raceway to make some draft moves. Right now, the fastest lap of the race still owned by Doms. Let's see what Aguilar and Green click off this last time by, as they've been pretty fiercely both battling traffic as well as each other. Yeah, both drivers at the 2:01 mark, as behind them still a mad frenzy of drivers trying to sort out who's going to get that final podium spot. Here we go, Green on the inside line, a mirror image of what we saw a lap prior. Now Green will get clear. Let's see if Aguilar will be able to answer. Aguilar's gonna have the pressure early on here. He knows if Green can get out front and start putting down work, it's gonna be tough for that 72 machine to answer. Aguilar 6/10 behind Green. Green starting to make some forward momentum. Now if we go a little bit further back, is Brad Trenton, Flo Doms, Gareth Mcallister rounding out the top 5. As Doms and Trenton gonna go side by side down the start finish line straight. Expect to see Doms send it in deep here in turn 1. He's got the inside advantage. Scribner safely backs out of it, but we saw Scribner in that feature race not afraid to go wheel to wheel with his fellow competitors. So Trenton Doms holds on to that 3rd place spot, running 4/10 ahead of Trenton. Trenton not able to quite use the draft like he wanted to reel back up to Dom's back bumper. Right now, we're looking like a repeat of the feature event results. As Trenton starts to fall off the pace. Now you heard early on the feature event that the more drivers got seat time here at Wisconsin, the more comfortable they were getting. As Trenton's fallen off the pace, Mcallister had a bit of an off track. He now finds himself 12th. Still a points scoring position, but not at all what the Aussie was looking for after leading the opening laps here in the sprint race. Green clicks off a 2-minute flat. We may yet again see a sub 2-minute time here tonight. Doms also with a 2-minute .5. So even though Doms was about 6-7 tenths faster than Aguilar, he's 1.1 seconds back from the 2nd place runner. He's gonna have to really put in some work here if he wants to catch up to Aguilar. and finish higher than third. Now, Dom's not getting a lot of pressure behind. He's 1.3 ahead of Brad Tritton. Now Dom's getting even closer. He's whittled it down to 7/10 to Aguilar, so we may see a race shape up here for second in the closing laps. As Green out front, stretching his advantage now to about 2 seconds over Aguilar. But I'm very interested in what's going to happen here. Dom's trying to improve on his feature event results. Trying to catch the draft of Aguilar, but Aguilar just tantalizingly out of reach here. Dom's getting so close to that draft coming off of Aguilar. Aguilar pushing the air out of the way for the Canadian to maybe take advantage of. Oh, look how deep Dom's goes on the brakes, too deep, as he steps out the back end. And that may allow Brad Tritton to contend for the final podium spot after Dom's had that big bobble. Dom's falls back to about 2.3 seconds behind Aguilar, so now he's going to go into race-saving mode to try and keep Tritton behind him. The point's just so important here tonight. Tritton has Scribner about 1.8 seconds back. So not a lot of pressure there, but if you go just a little bit further back to Nick Peterson, has all sorts of company. He's got Peter Rettinger, Kevin Burrows right there with him. Behind them, John Kasai trying to fend off Hunter Graves in the battle for 9th. We're currently watching the battle for 6th on track as the white flag is thrown for Josh Green. 1 to go at the sprint race here at the League Zero Formula 3 Series, sponsored by Nemesis Lab. And look at this. Here comes Rettinger trying to make a move on Scribner. Burrows also looking for a way through. Rettinger showing a 700-second advantage, but Peterson's going to answer on the inside line. Will Rettinger be able to pick up the draft, or is it going to be Burrows in the best spot here to try and pick up a 2-for-1 pass? Oh, we hint at going 3 wide. Drivers thinking better of it. Burrows looking for anybody to tuck in behind that may seem just a little bit faster. Ooh, Rettinger with a bobble. Looks like Burrows will narrowly get clear of the Austrian driver, so Burrows now 7th, Peterson 6th, as Rettinger falls back to 8th. Going just a little bit further back to the battle, being led by John Kasai in 9th. He's chased by Hunter Graves, Gareth Mcallister. Let's see if Hunter Graves will be able to make a move here, as now the checkered flag will fly for Josh Green. The second time in a row here tonight with Josh Green, Raymond Aguilar, and Flo Doms rounding out the top three. But look at this. Kasai, Graves, McAllister really going at it here. Expect to see a last-ditch effort from McAllister, maybe to tuck out the draft. Yes, there he goes. Oh, who's it going to be at the line? It'll still be Kasai, Graves, McAllister, 9th, 10th, and 11th. As great racing amongst the gang once more. But a very clean race as far as sprint races go. Arguably one of the cleanest we've had, especially considering the Long Beach shenanigans we've had just a couple of races ago. As we're going to wait for our top three drivers to make their way up into victory lane, as a few drivers continue making their way across the start-finish line here at Road America. And while I have a brief second as well before the drivers make their way to victory lane, thank you all, as always, so much tune in. Support these drivers. I appreciate it, and the drivers doubly so, I would say. Because without our fans, we wouldn't have much of a show every week. And let's get the party started here. As we will be accompanied by Flo Dobbs, the number 13 machine. Repeat finish here, Flo. Third, 2 times in a row. What more can you ask for?
Not much. I made one little mistake. Otherwise, I could have maybe beat Raymond. But I'm happy with P3 again.
Yeah, nice and clean, nice and tidy. And the most important thing, you survived a sprint race, which is often harder than you would think here at League Zero. What was the strategy coming into tonight to kind of go into survival mode and make sure you came out in a points-paying position?
Yeah, that's true. Always the same. Trying to stay out of trouble, taking it very easy on the opening laps, and yeah, it paid out.
Now, Flo, what's your thoughts about the new tire compound implemented in these Formula 3 machines? Is it something you're coming to grips with, no pun intended, or are you still trying to dial it in and figure it out?
A bit of both. I've been doing a few races this week, and the learning curve is it's not easy to adapt, especially if you have driven the car for a long time before. But nothing too bad.
Well, awesome, Flo. Always a great time having you up here. Always a great time talking to you. You get the third best send off tonight of any family, friends, sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to.
Just Brad and Kevin, who were very supportive in the voice chat just now, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome, Flo. Great time talking to my friend, and congratulations on third.
Thank you.
Those Flo Doms finishing third here tonight, back to back. And up next, we got Raymond Aguilar, the 72 machine. Raymond, great race out there, and a lot of very quick, decisive moves working your way up towards the front.
Yeah, I just don't have that juice that they have on the Predator movie that makes Josh Green superhuman. I don't have that.
Yeah, I think Green's just built different. But Raymond, we've seen you before, and I think it was Crouch touched on it earlier this season of how aggressive but clean you have to be to survive these sprint races and get those podium finishes. I mean, what's going on behind the visor when you're starting 11th on the grid, knowing you only have 10 laps to get up there up front?
First, it starts with a good Spotify playlist. Now, if you don't start off with a good playlist from the beginning, it just throws off the entire race. So, as an example, if you were to start off with, say, Dixie Chicks, you're gonna win every time. If you start off with something else, you may fare differently.
Now, out of that Dixie Chicks album, which one would you say would be your favorite pre-race tune to kind of set the mood for you?
Out of their albums?
Let's just go with a song.
Okay, so I usually start things off with Wide Open Spaces. I can't do the whole Traveling Soldier one because I'll start bawling right in the middle of a race. So I got to turn it down once it gets to that one.
Yeah, very very well said, and good way to keep the heartbeat a little bit lower going into the race, and don't let those nerves get to you. Raymond, great job. 2 seconds in a night, a great points night. Who would you like to give a shout to? Friends, family, sponsors that helped you get up here.
Again, Taco Bell, that fire sauce just came in at the right moment and gave us. I think it was worth at least a tenth and a half. My beautiful wife and my teammate Chase Small, he brought it home tonight. Barely got it in there with the sprint race, but I think luck's going to change in his favor next week.
Awesome. Raymond, a great time talking to my friend. Good job tonight, and hope to see you back up here next week.
Yep. Thanks so much, James.
Thank you, my friend. And up next, the man of the hour, Josh Green, the #1 spot 2 times in a row. I want to say that's 2 hat tricks in a row. Most positions gained, fastest lap time, as well as finishing in the top spot.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a strong race. It's always fun starting from the middle of the pack and having to work your way forward. Raymond got a really good start, and it was really just about catching up to him and following him in his tracks.
Now, Josh, we've seen some different strategies develop in the sprint race between the usual front runners here at League Zero. We've got you, Aguilar, Doms, Crouch frequently up here inside the podium booth, if not the top 5. And a couple different strategies we see is some drivers really aggressive on the sprint race and kind of throwing it in there, and other drivers trying to play a little bit more safe. And seems like you fall into that latter category.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends how confident you are in your pace in the end. If you're confident that, you can take it slow and still get to the front by the end of the race, then you will take it slow. Inherently, if you think you need to be to the front at the beginning, then you're just going to try and race your way to the front. But it kind of depends more on the competitors. If you have someone ahead of you, like let's say Raymond just dive bombed the whole field and made it work, then all of a sudden my work gets a lot harder because I know if I don't get through the field quick enough, I'm not going to catch him.
It's almost like a game of 200-mile-an-hour chess where the opening guy kind of sets the pace and then you've got to adjust the strategy afterwards. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, exactly. And Ray always gets those crazy starts off the line, so I kind of knew that it was going to be a bit of playing second fiddle.
Well, you played the heck out of it here tonight. Looking good at Wisconsin Road America, putting on a great show and a very clean sprint race from what we've seen in the past. So good to A, see you survive that race, and B, finish in the top spot. And Josh, we know it's been a long night for you, especially after a week of testing, so we'll be brief. But who you want to give a shout-out to that helped you get back up here at Victory Lane and such a great points-paying night for you in the number 22?
I will again say Session Guardian and Zimperium. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Josh, always a great time talking to you, my friend. Thank God you're fast, buddy, because we'll work on the podium interviews later on. Great time talking to you, my friend. Great seeing the top spot, and hope to see you with that continued success on and off the track.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
That was Josh Green finishing the top spot. A man of few words, but some absolute great race results and everything he decides to do. Where it was Josh Green, Raymond Aguilar, Flo Doms, your top 3 after another action-packed sprint race here at the League Zero Formula Series. As always, on behalf of LeagueZero.net, as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much to our fans, friends, and family from across the world. Tuning in each and every week, supporting us. We couldn't do it without you, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everyone.